Welcome, I'm Nancy Ruby, and this is Ruby Wellness Academy. Today is all about our shoulders and building stability around the shoulder girdle, namely in your rotator cuff muscles, and that's going to help keep your shoulder blades in the right place on your back. That helps open your heart, keeping the space around your collarbone, allowing you to get a nice deep breath into your body. And so let's begin. Sitting nice and tall, either on the floor or I'm sitting on a block. I find that comfortable. We're going to drop the head and I'm mirroring you to your right, reaching your right arm down to the ground just for support. And let's take the left arm out and start to gently turn the arm bone so that we feel the rotation of the humerus, the head of the arm bone, in the shoulder girdle, which is comprised of the collarbone and the shoulder blade and that arm bone. So just let it rotate. It's called a ball and socket joint, but there's not a whole lot of depth to that. So it takes the muscles, specifically the rotator cuff muscles, to keep that arm bone secure in place. So when we rotate in, or inner spiral or internal rotation, the head of the humerus comes forward and then it actually puts your body in a compromised position. So we want to externally rotate and feel that when you rotate this arm bone, your shoulder blade naturally comes in and starts to lift your chest. So you can keep the upper arm bone externally rotated and turn your lower arm down in certain postures. Today we'll rotate it up. Bring the hand towards the towards the shoulder and lift from the elbow. And we'll give a nice stretch along the side body. And I'd like you to pay special attention to the side of your shoulder blades. So this area, there's a lot of muscles that attach right along the lateral edge of the shoulder blade. So I'm going to open those up. You could turn your head down if that's comfortable. Just feel what's available for movement in your shoulder today. Just give it a little bit of an awakening before we do the strengthening. So take a deep breath into your side body. Let it go and maybe dive a little deeper. As you inhale, draw yourself back up and release that arm down. So you want to keep, as I said, the upper arm bone externally rotated. The hand can come down. Your left ear drops towards your shoulder. Reach out with the right arm and let's rotate that arm. And just rotating is really good to warm up the soft tissues in the joint, to get that synovial fluid warmed up for better range of motion. Internal rotation, external rotation. So a good rule of thumb is to always turn the upper arm bone out so that the bicep always has a clear view of your ear. And you'll see how that works in other postures. Let's bring the fingertips to the shoulder, raise up from the elbow. Get a nice little lateral flexion of the spine. Really focus in on that shoulder girdle. Maybe moving that arm around a little bit. Make it feel good. And then one more breath in and out. And then inhale your way back to center. Hands on your lap. We're going to lift and lower the arm bones with the breath. So it's keep going. We're going to warm up the area using your lifting muscles, the levator scapula, which lifts the scapula up, and of course your trapezius. You're probably familiar with that big muscle that attaches the base of your ribs out to your shoulder blade and up into your neck. When we overuse it, we lift our arm bones up to our ears, just trying to hold the weight of the world. That muscle gets really tired. So we want to drop it. Let go. 3 more. Now feel the heat that you're starting to generate. And let's just make little circles with the shoulders. Circles forward, up, back, and down. And feel not just the arm bone moving, but the movement that's occurring in the collarbone and around the shoulder blades. Okay, shoulders warmed up, and we are going to transition to an all fours position. So coming over onto all fours. Please place your hands. I have to direct this a lot, and I'm not the only one. I did learn this from my teachers as well. The wrist joint slightly forward, the shoulder joint. Your hip joint directly over your knee joint. So get that right, because if you do what many people say is wrists under shoulders, you end up too narrow. And then when I go into a forward, when I want to come into a push-up position, I don't have room for that. So you really want to come forward here. And then when you come into that push-up position, you have plenty of room. Right? So just rock back and forth a little bit and find your distance between your knees and your hands. And then coming back with hips directly over knees. Press into your finger pads. Press into the inner arm. Firm the arms. And from here we're going to floss the shoulders, which means keeping the arms straight, but just moving the rib cage towards the earth and away from the earth, and feel the relationship of your arm bone to the rib cage. Breathing in and out. Now some people will be doing this and they'll still be doing cat-cow, but that's not the movement. Keep your spine neutral and just articulate the shoulder girdle. Again, this is really good for all your connective tissue. You're not having to push as far as possible. You're just going to that comfortable range of motion. And then we'll find the center. Instead of sinking the shoulder blades deeply and separating completely, come to that space just in between. So there's a sense of stability around the shoulder girdle. And then begin to lift the sitting bones and let the spine drop. Think of the tips of the shoulder blades coming together, and now lifting your head. Lift from the base of your skull instead of your nose, just from the base of your skull so the neck stays long. And then as we exhale, and I know you've done cat-cow probably, but I want you to feel it in regards to your shoulder girdle. As you exhale into cat, let's turn those biceps up towards the sky. The tendency is inner spiral and squeezing your ears. You want to create space around the neck. And then as you reverse the pelvis, bringing the sitting bones up, again, keep the collarbone broad and let the tips of the shoulder blades come closer. So just a few rounds of cat-cow with the awareness in your shoulder girdle. And following this inhalation, chest open, let's hold and then come back to neutral by hugging the front ribs in. And then very slowly coming back towards child. Keep everything lifted. Tap onto the tips of the fingers so the wrist joints come up. And feel the lift in your arm bones. The lift in your armpits. Again, turning the biceps up and then bringing your head between your arm and pulling back. Breathing. Giving a nice opening through the shoulder girdle. Plant the hands flat, pressing firmly to the inner edge of the index finger thumb. All pads of the fingers anchored. Arm bones still lifting. You're not sinking into the arms. You're lifting the arms and melting the heart. Coming up towards cat. Come into a rounded back position. Your tailbone is tucked. And then start to shift your weight forward, keeping the tailbone long away from the head. Bringing your chest between your thumbs and arms steady and strong. Press the back of the head back. And then soften the elbows so you can squeeze the shoulder blades and release the weight of the hips a little bit in a modified up dog. And then push back and round. Coming back into that modified child because you're keeping your hands in place and you're releasing the wrists and lifting the arms. Kind of a in-between cat and child pose. Anchor the hands, lift through cat. Keep the tailbone drawn in, scoop the belly, soft elbows, melting the heart. So a little modified up dog. Let's go back again. Rounding the back. Release the wrists. Forward into your modified up dog. Keep your gaze up and slowly bend your elbows so your thighs, your pelvis, your belly come to the floor and you land in your cobra, chest wide open. Adjust the legs, inner spiral the tops of the thighs a bit so the center of the thigh bone and the center of the kneecap face the earth. And then slide your arms out to the side. Draw the chin to the throat and put your forehead down. And then stretch your arms out in a T position. I call it lazy T. I bring my hands a little lower than the shoulders. And from here, leaving your head down, and you might have to lift to look. But then you're going to hug the muscles of the arms towards the bone and in towards the midline of the torso. So your arm bones are going to hug in. And then from there you lift the arms, and then you lift the head and the heart, and you lower down. Now let's lift just the arms. Keep the head down, squeeze the arms up, and lower down. Squeezing and lowering. Keeping the pressure down in the top of the feet, knees, and pelvis. So you're anchoring the lower body as you strengthen. Now make sure you're coming from the shoulder blades, not leaving the arms down and just lifting from the hands. Shoulder blades and muscles around them are what doing the work here. Squeeze, release. 2 more. Now this time, arms come up, lift the head and the heart. And down. So first arms, heart and head. And down. One more time. Arms, heart and head. Hold up. Press down through the lower body. Let the elbows bend. Bring them to the earth. Turn your head to one side. And rest. So these 3 practices called TWY are strengthening the muscles around the shoulder blades that attach the shoulder blade to the arm bone and which create the cuff around that shoulder that hold those bones in place. Let's press into the arm bones, the forearm. Bring your head to center. Now from here, again, squeeze the shoulder blades, press down through the lower body, and then lift just the arms. And peek to the side to see if your wrist and elbow are equidistant from the floor. So you don't want to just lift your elbows or just lift your hands. Make it even. Now let's come down. And then keep the head down and just the arms. Squeeze. And your range of motion may be smaller than mine, so don't expect to do the same. Just go to where you feel comfortable. This time hold the arms, lift the head, lift the heart, and down. Lift the arms. And then let's lift the head and heart and down. One more time. Arms, head and heart. Pause here. Notice what's sustaining the movement. And then reach your arms out in front and take a break. Pressing into the hands, bring your head to center and look at your hands. going to turn the thumbs up. Now, not everyone can do this one. If you have any issues in your shoulders, you're going to go back to the W's, or even just take a wider Y. So we're going to lower the head and lift just the arms. Head stays down and lift. As you come down, you're lowering, not dropping. It's all done with precise control. Now leave the arms up. Lift the head, lift the heart. If that's too much on your back, then start with your arms closer to you. It's a lot of leverage. If it's okay, arms up, head and heart, and lower. Arms, head and heart, and lower. This time we're going to hold it. Arms, head and heart. Reach it up. Maybe firm the leg muscles so much that the feet come up. Again, you want to be sure that this feels safe. You're hovering above the earth, breathing deeply and evenly, letting your back body support you. Reach, one more breath. And then lower the hands. Turn your head to the side and breathe. Let's bring the hands next to our heart, head to center. So the elbows are off the ground. And you might want to take your hands a little wider away from your body so your elbows are in more narrow. Drag your shoulders towards your earlobes like a little shrug, and then pull the shoulder blades together. So there's the beginning of your cobra. Lift with your back muscles. No pressure on the hands at first. Just where can the back lift you? Then put enough pressure on the hands for support to possibly curl up further, and then lower down. Twice more. Curling up. And as you come down, keep your arm bones back. The tendency is to drop them. Let's not. Come up as far as your body allows. And lower down. Okay. Now come up again, pause, push into the hands. We're going to peel off the ground. Come to all fours. Arrange your foundation. And then round the back. Little counter pose in the shoulder girdle. So if you bring your hips back behind your knees, you can get a little more stretch in the shoulders. And then coming to all fours. This next movement can be done from the belly if you don't want to be on your knees. And we're simply going to lift opposite limbs. But I'm going to add a little something for you. So let's take the left leg back if you're facing the same direction as I am. Left leg goes back. As it goes back, you want to square your pelvis, tone the belly, lift the heart, and then take that leg up to the level of your hip. Avoid rolling your hip up. Keep your thigh and your kneecap facing the ground. And as you bring the opposing arm up, instead of straightening it out, come up in that cactus position, turning the thumb to the sky and really lifting from the shoulder blade. So you're not just lifting the hand up, you're lifting from the core of your body, both with the leg, which is gluteus maximus working, your hamstring. Holding this, feel yourself balancing. Again, back body strong, front body toned and long. And then set it down. Now let's go into cat. Popping the heel of the hand up, rounding the back. Come back to all fours, stretch the other leg out, square the pelvis, tone the belly, lift the heart, shoulder blades strongly drawing in. Take the leg up, shift your weight into the same hand, bring the opposite arm up. Squeeze around the shoulder blade. Breathe and sustain the movement so you feel the intricacy of what's supporting you. Then release down, and you'll do the other side. If you don't want to be on your wrist, you can do the same thing from this position, lifting the opposing limb. So go ahead and lift from the knees or the floor. And the other side. Feeling that back body being activated. Squeeze. Keeping your hip and shoulder girdle square to the ground. I'm going to change position. Keep going. And then you'll pause. If you're on your belly, come up to all fours. Everybody move into cat pose. Round back, pop the heel of the hand up. Plant the hands, lift the heart, come back into cow. And then again into cat. And as you're in cat, look back and see that your knees are pelvic width apart. And get your hips directly over your knees as you lift the chest. Now from here, we're going to open the arms as if overhead. So the arms come out, the hips stay directly over the knees, called prayer pose. Come up on the finger pads, lift your arm bones, head between the arms, and then draw back. So instead of going down, I want you to think of pulling your hips way back, and you will get lower to the floor. As you maintain that action in the legs pushing into the earth, the thighs drawing back, the belly staying toned and lengthening from hip to fingertip. So this is more of a quarter dog. If you want to plant the hands, you can now. There should be very little weight on your wrist. You're on the knuckles. The wrist joints are lifting. The forearms are lifting. The armpits are lifting. Biceps turning a little bit towards the sky. Side body long. 3 more breaths. Your head is just between your arms. Neutral alignment of the neck, as well as the thoracic and lumbar spine. On your next inhalation, let's take it up. Now keep that distance and pull your hips forward. Lower your pelvis, squeezing the shoulder blades. Slide down. Now notice where the hands are, so you're going to slide the hands back. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Lift with your back muscles. Pause, letting the breath go. Take another deep breath in. Lift yourself up off the ground and take it back and round. Come through cat. So we're going to put it together. Come into your push-up position. Gaze up. Bending the elbows. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Land with your heart wide open. Inhale, cobra. And then push away. And draw back to child. We're going to keep growing this series, this vinyasa. Come into your push-up position. Once again, lower down. Get used to landing with the heart wide open. Do not drop the head. Lift and open the heart. Push away. Now this time, curl the toes under and take the knees off the ground. Now, just like we did in our prayer pose, you're going to push into your hands, lift your forearms, lift your armpits, and then pull your hips back away from your hands. Your knees stay bent. Heels can come down just enough to create that little stretch. Breathe. And today, really focusing on what's happening in the shoulder girdle. So again, can you turn the bicep up a little bit and still stretch through the side of your shoulders, your shoulder girdle, your shoulder blade, like you felt when we were seated. Feel that lengthening. And then as you come back down to tabletop, you're neutral. You can pull back, release the wrist joint. Plant, come through cat. Come into push-up position. Option, those of you that have a little more strength, take the knees off the ground. Then we lift, I start to separate the shoulder blades. So look forward, melt the heart, and then come down onto the pelvis, chest wide open. Okay. Maybe take the hands a little wider, rise up in cobra, and then push away. Come back to child. This time, slide your hands back by your feet and round your shoulders. You might want to do a little wrist roll just to release the wrist. And then drawing up, grab 2 blocks. Now if you don't have blocks, you can do this from the floor. It's just easier with blocks, and it's great feedback. And you want to have some blocks in your yoga practice. So as I come forward, I want my thighs on the lower block and my lower ribs on the upper block. And then you curl the toes under and activate the legs. So that's a straight line from heel to hip. And then the hands are in line with the mid chest, almost with that second block under the ribs, and shoulder blades back. So here is your Chaturanga. The head's not dropping. Head is lifted, heart is lifted. There's a lot of lifting going on, even though we're down here low. So push into your hands, squeeze your shoulder blades, hug your elbows in, and then tone the belly. That's key. Tone the legs, tone the belly, and see if you can just lift your ribs off the block. Just the ribs. And if you're on the floor, you can just try lifting the ribs off the floor. Pelvis is still down. So lift. And again, it's not coming up into cobra. You're lifting and hugging those front ribs in, shoulder blades together, breathing. Option for some is charge the legs and bring the legs off the block. So again, head is back, heart is open, belly's firm, legs are charged. Breathe. Lower back down onto the blocks or the floor. Point the toes, lift the heart, and let's stretch the arms back behind us, kind of a flying position. And rotate the wrists. This is excellent strengthener for the wrist joints and the wrist bones. All right, one more, and then we'll come off of our wrists. So you're going to place your hands next to your chest again. Let's try it again. Toes under, charge the legs, hug the arms in, bring everything towards midline. Take the belly up, so you're really squeezing in. Pelvis up, breathing. Then straighten the arms. Maybe lower the hips a little in an upward dog. And then lift from center into downward dog. Bend the knees first to lengthen the spine, and then lower the legs. Or the heels, I should say. If you're up for it, let's do a little flow. So you come forward into plank. Bring the back of the head up, heart open, lower down, Chaturanga, push in, upward dog. You can bring your hips forward or up, depending on your back, and then a hug in from the belly. Lengthen in downward dog. This is a lot of work, so give yourself a little break, but know that your strength work is important, so important. Come forward into your plank. You could go from your knees, lower down, lift into a modified upward dog, and then let's take it back, everybody. Bring your hands near your knees and put your head, if you have a block, put it right on the block. Take your hands underneath your shin bones, palms up, and pull out to spread the shoulder blades and release the wrists. If you can reach your feet, curl in enough, then do that and flare the elbows. Now place your hands next to your head and slowly come up. Remove your blocks. Okay, we're going to do one more. This is a bit of an inversion. It's off the wrist joints. It's also very strengthening for your shoulder girdle and very much the same alignment principles. So this time, elbows under the shoulders and slightly more narrow than the shoulder so you can roll out on the bone. Interlace the fingers and shift your weight forward so your chest is between your elbows. You might feel like you need to bring your knees in a little bit more. That's fine. Now be aware of your spine. What position is it in? Take it back and forth just to note. Flexion, extension, neutral. So neutral is the sitting bones are still lifted. You have a lumbar curve. Your front body is toned. And your shoulder blades are on your back. This is going to move us towards Dolphin Pose. Curl the toes under. And then pushing off the knees. It's actually a preparation for what we call Pinchameriyasana, forearm stand. But we're just going to do this today. So feel the weight in your forearms. And as you do that, keep pressing the back of your head back and opening your chest. So your shoulder blades are pressing into your heart. And then you could let your head dangle. Just find that support system in your shoulders. Hold and breathe. For some of you, I'll give another option. You might bring your feet a little closer and then bring your hips more over the shoulders. Next option is one foot comes off the ground. And notice what that feels like to reach back with that foot, keeping the hips square, hugging to midline. Let's do the other leg. Go with a bent knee. It's easier to keep the hips grounded and square. Shoulder blades lifting your heart. We're strengthening those muscles in an excellent alignment. One more breath. Release the leg down. Bend the knees to the earth. Breathe. Place your hands near your knees. If you haven't done rabbit, please watch. This time on rabbit, the head comes to the earth and the hands come to the hips, squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, or if you can, interlace your fingers and rotate your shoulders. Go in this softly. Notice where they want to rotate. One more breath. Float the arms back to the earth, hands next to the head. Leave the chin into the throat as you bring your torso up, straightening the arms. Create your foundation, tabletop wide, and then lift the head and the heart. And just move things around a little bit. We're going to walk forward on the mat and come around our hips. Okay, stretch the legs out. So that's a lot on the shoulder girdle, and if you're like most people, you probably found out that you need more strength there. So that series is excellent. We're going to do one release. It's also for the shoulders and the spine, which is a twist, rolling on your back. It's called Crocodile Twist because you're going to create big crocodile jaws. So let's straighten one leg. Let's say you straighten the right leg. It'll be easier. You put your left foot on the floor and you move your hips 2 inches to the left, approximately. So you can roll onto the side of your right hip, and your hip is in line with your head, not off the edge of the mat. You reach over. This top foot can stay on the floor, on the leg, out in front. Sometimes it's nice to have a block. Put your foot on the block. Okay, it's not about getting this knee to the ground. That can be an overstretch on your sacroiliac joint, so it's better to have your hips stacked. And to deepen the twist, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the back arm, which is your left arm, up to the sky. These are our big crocodile jaws. I'm going to lift my head and curl in, bring my hands together. And now I can see that my straight leg is straight, my hips are stacked. Keeping those hips in place, slide the hand across, head goes to the ground, hand comes across the chest, open the chest. If your elbow touches, then you can straighten the arm out. And we're turning the rib cage to the left. That's going to deepen the twist. So again, let's take big crocodile jaws, curl in. It's a little bit of separation of the shoulder blades. And then slide back. Make lots of room for your neck. If your elbow doesn't touch, just leave your hand either at your chest or your rib cage. If it does touch, then stretch it out. Maybe invite those ribs a little bit more to the left. Deep breath in and out. We're just going to hold now. Feel the twist through the body. Chest wide open. And we'll take one more crocodile jaw. Big crocodile jaw. And then from here, bend the bottom leg, the one that's straight. Top leg comes over. And then we just flow onto our back. Super easy. All right. Come onto your back. Get everything situated. Straighten the left leg. Take your hips towards the right, rolling onto the side of your left hip. Okay. And then stack, or again, could bring your block with you. Get tricky with those blocks. Step it over. If you have a wall, this is great. You can put your foot right on the wall. Very nice. Get creative. And then again, the twist, you want to keep the knee level to the hip to keep your lower back neutral. Let the twist come through the torso, through the rib cage, and then of course the neck. If you bring your head all the way around, make sure you draw it back so you have lots of space around your neck. Now let's take the crocodile jaws up and over, and lifting your head round in. Slide the arm across. I like to slide it because then when I get here, I have that, okay, my arm's not going all the way down, so I'm just going to leave my hand and let it hang. So there's not too much pull on the shoulder girdle. If you can't touch and your arm's out here and your hand drops, the tendency is for the shoulder to go forward. We don't want that. Shorten the leverage, get the arm bone down. Remember, keeping the shoulder to the back plane. Let's do it again. Take a deep breath in and then over to your side crocodile. And then take it across your chest. Rotate those ribs. Maybe open the arm all the way. And breathe. Notice where your neck wants to go. So as you hold this posture, this spinal twist, think of breathing all the way down the length of your spine. Back out. Feel how much is opening in the chest. One more breath. Enjoy it. Big crocodile jaws coming over. Rounding in. Let the bottom leg bend, top leg bend, and then onto your back, just to make it easy to come out of the pose. Rolling onto your back. Situate your shoulder girdle, come into a bridge. Let the arms come overhead. And notice how you feel in your shoulder girdle. So this is the work of down dog and rabbit and prayer pose and all the work we've done so that you can bring your arms overhead and always reach that top shelf item from a place of stability. So you want to feel that core still gently engaged. This time we're going to bring the arms up and the hips up. Take it all the way up. Keep the arms overhead and stretch down. Press between the shoulder blades. Lengthen your spine. Release your pelvis. And then once again, push down to lift up. Stretch. And this time the arms will come with your torso. Relax. Bend the elbows 90 degrees. Pull your shoulder blades together. One more time. And then pushing into the upper arm bones, lift the hips. And from here, you're going to interlace your fingers and squeeze your shoulder blades together. If you can't get your arms behind you, hold the edge of your mat. That works well too. Avoid locking the elbow joints. You want a little bend in the joint so you can push through the upper arm bone. Let the chest move towards the chin and let the chin lift so you have lots of space in your throat. The chest is what's leading. Your hips are relaxing. Your legs are stabilizing. This is called Setu Bandhasana, which is the bridge pose. Big opening in the heart. One more breath in. And then spread the shoulder blades and lower down onto your back. Just bring the hands behind the head. Lift the head up. Draw the knees up. I like to hold the head and see if I can get to my knees. If you can't get there, just hold your knees. Give yourself a nice squeeze. Take the shoulders and head back down, and let's reverse or circle the knees. That's what I mean. Circle the knees. Release the spine. And then placing the feet on the floor. Adjust your torso to feel relaxed. Chest wide open, arms at your side, straighten the legs out. Bring them shoulder width apart at the feet, and then melt. Close your eyes, and let's take 10 deep breaths into that heart space that you've opened. And not only is the heart space at the center in the front of the chest, but it's deep inside and all the way to the back body between those shoulder blades. So breathe into that spaciousness. Two more breaths. And letting your breath fall into its own rhythm. Just notice what you've created with this action today in the shoulder girdle. Let's feel what it's like in an upright position. So bend your knees, placing your feet on the floor one at a time. And then roll over onto your side. You want to keep your upper arm bone on your side so that your chest stays open. If you're a side sleeper, and you drop your arm in front, that may be causing limited range of motion in your shoulders. So keep it open. Notice how that feels. And then use your hands for support, pushing down. Let your head stay heavy until you're all the way up. And then draw your head up last. Okay, get yourself situated again. Find a comfortable position for your legs. And feel into those shoulders, all that you moved in the rib cage, in the chest, the upper back, neck. And as you're moving through your day, notice how you hold yourself in this area. And consider watching how you move in ways that really serve the strength and mobility of your shoulders, and thereby opening your heart. Thank you for joining me today. May your heart be open. Namaste.